What's up guys, welcome to new Unreal Engine 5 tutorial, and today we are continuing with the RPG series. We'll be making the assassination system, and again we'll be using motion warping. So just in case for the people that asked in the last video what was motion warping is a feature that will dynamically adjust a character's room motion to align to its targets. Basically, it will move the player in a way that it reaches its set destination using the animation's motion. Alright, so it's gonna be a very easy video to follow, so let's get started. Alright, so first of all we have to get our animations. So I have left this incredible free asset pack of incredible combat animations in the description. So go ahead and enter in the YouTube video. Now you have to go ahead and click the link over here, and you can see that it's here. Now you will see that it's actually 50 cents. But what you have to do is basically add it to the cart, and then in the checkout you will need to put this discount code, so basically sample in all caps, and now you will have it free. Now of course, if you want to support the creator, you can leave this 50 cents, but it's up to you. You can put the code sample, you have it totally for free. So go ahead and download it, unzip it, and now we can go ahead and start importing it into Unreal Engine. Okay, so let's go into characters, RPG character, animations, and now we're gonna go into create a new folder. So it's gonna be Assassinations. Okay, let's go ahead and enter. So what we're going to do is open the folder with our animations, and what we're going to see is that we have a lot of animations, but we will only need two. So we'll need the paired knife, stealth, kidney and neck attackant, and then paired knife, stealth, kidney and neck victim. Okay, so these two, they're working in a pair. Okay, so these two, let's go ahead and get them and drag them into the content browser. And now we can go ahead and answer the skeleton. Now this time it's gonna be the opposite of what we normally do. Normally we go into the UE5 skeleton, but these animations are made for the old Unreal Engine 4 skeleton. So we want to select the old UE4 skeleton. Okay, there we go, select it, and now we want to say import all, and you will see that we have them here. Okay, with the old skeleton. There we go. So what we have to do now is create another folder and put them UE4, and we want to go ahead and drag them in and move here. We're gonna go ahead and enter, select it. Okay, select both animations, right click. I'm gonna go into retarget animation assets. I want to say duplicate and retarget, and now what we can do is select an eye care retargeter. And the thing is that this template already comes with UE4 to UE5, not UE5 to UE4. Okay, UE4 to UE5. So you can see the source is the UE4, and then the target will be UE5. So we now need to select the folder, so we can go into characters, RPG animations, assassinations, and there we go. Okay, retarget, and now you can see them over here. So Ctrl+Shift+S to save everything, and now we have them with the UE5 skeleton. Great, so everything is going ahead and working. So what we have to do right now is convert all these animations into an anime montage, okay, because we need to be able to play them from the blueprints and then add the motion warping as we did in the last episode. Okay, so what we're going to do is select our attackant animation, okay, basically the ones that has ATT at the end. Okay, and we want to start with this one, so right click, going to create anime montage, press enter. We don't have to change the name, and now we can go ahead and open it up. Okay, so let's go into the start, and make sure also, first of all, let's go into the animation, and we need to have enable room motion enabled. Okay, so they will basically move. Okay, we need to have this enabled, and this in reference pose and stuff like that. Okay, great, and we'll do the same with the victim. Go ahead and enable room motion, because they need room motion in order to motion warping to work. Okay, so now we can open the montage that we have just created, and we can go into the start, and we need to go into the notify track, right click, add notify state, and then add the motion warping. Okay, so it will actually start right at the beginning. Like, this is a really straightforward animation. It already starts in action, so then we need to go until it starts basically attacking, so the first movement until it gets to this point. So basically it will be around here. So I actually have a note over here of where it was pretty much the good time that I found, and it was around 13, so basically here. So now we can hold shift and move it until here, 13. Okay, over here, and there we go. Now our motion warping will go into this area. So now we need to select it and go into details. If you're not seeing this window, you just go into window and find it here. And now we need to select the skew warp again. And now the warp target name will basically be assassination warp. Okay, and there we go. And we'll leave everything as it is here. We don't have to touch anything. We're gonna save and close it. Great. Okay, so now what we're going to do is go ahead and go into a third-person character blueprint. All right, so open it up, and what we're going to do is go ahead and basically make our new input. Now there's gonna be a small change over here, and what we're going to do is go ahead and first change the comment of last video so it matches the color. So go ahead and select the color and put it over here, so we have everything up to date. Great. And then we're gonna go ahead and put this up here. Then we're gonna go ahead and create a new input, and then in the crouch, what we're going to do is that the thing is that right now if you crouch and you jump, it does a weird thing. So what we have to do is make sure that if you're crouched and you jump, you first uncrouch and then you jump. Okay, so what we're going to do is basically delete this flip-flop, and what we're going to do is make a branch, and the true on over here and the false over here. And you want to get the crouch variable and say not boolean. Okay, so everything press Q so it's aligned, and put it in the condition. So if we are not crouched, it will crouch, and if that. Okay, so now it will still work exactly the same as what we had before, but it's a better way. And then also what we have to do is basically uncrouch when we jump. So what we're going to do is also here create a custom event. It's going to be basically crouch. Okay, now we cannot put the same name, it seems, so just crouch uncrouch. There we go, great name. So now we can just plug that into the branch too, and now we can just call and basically crouch and crouch just before we jump, and it will also do the calculation. So now we press play, you can see that if we crouch, it's still it wasn't crouch, it was crouch uncrouch, this one. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so now we can go ahead and be crouched, and we jump, it won't crouch and then go into jump. And one thing that we have to do is also check that we are crouched. If not, every time that we jump we'll be uncrouching and crouching. So we have to do is make some space and basically get the branch, and then basically just copy this condition. So basically if we are not crouched, we will basically directly jump, but if we are crouched, we will need to uncrouch and then jump. Okay, so that's what we have to do. Now let's go back into our system. So first of all, let's create the input for the vault and then the assassination. So let's go into the third person input and actions, and let's go ahead and right click, go into input and create a new input action. EA for input action underscore. Let's do first of all the vault, okay, that we have before, if I know how to spell it correctly. Vault, here we go, and then another one for EA and assassin. I think that's how you name it. Okay, and we don't have to touch anything of those, we don't have to even open them. We need to go into the collection, and now we just add a mapping. So for the vault, let's do it first, and then we can select this icon and then press a key in our keyboard. So in the case it was shift. You can customize the keys as you want, and also a lot of these ones are temporary until we start actually getting the gameplay going. Now we want to add another one, assassin, press here, and in our case gonna be sorry about the phone, left mouse button. Okay, so when we left click, of course you can put whatever type of key you want. Now we can go here, and we need to change this into be EA vault, okay, the first one with the arrow, and on started. And there we go, now it's basically all set up correctly. Great, so now let's go down over here, EA underscore assassin. Now we continue with the assassination system. Great, so what we have to do is go ahead and create a dummy. So we need to test this system with a dummy. We are not gonna create the AI yet. So first of all, let's create a new folder, and basically call it blueprints. And here we're gonna place all of the blueprints that we're gonna be making. In our case, we're gonna make the dummy. So let's go ahead and create a new blueprint class. It's gonna be type character, then BP underscore dummy. And we can basically, we'll later on experiment with this guy, a lot of nasty things. So poor guy, that'll be in here. Anyway, let's go into the mesh, and we're going to scale the mesh and put, for example, many simple for now. And then in the location, it's gonna be -89. And then for the rotation, -90. So it will be perfectly placed. And now in the NM class, we need to search ABP many. Okay, great. So now he will be placed over here. So what we have to do around is basically create a radius. So basically it will be an area that if the player is behind and we press the assassin button, we will be able to assassin. So what we have to do is add a sphere collision. So this will be our assassination radius. Okay, now what we have to do is put it a bit to the back, and then you can change this sphere radius here. So let's say that it's gonna be kind of this area here. Now I'm gonna make it really rough. We will tune it in later as we go, but if you want, you can tune it better, okay, to match what you want. Now later on, when you have the AI system, we will only enable this radius whenever the AI hasn't seen or localized the player and it's just standing still, etc. Okay, so later on we'll tune it in, but for now it's the dummy. So compile and save. Make sure that the assassination radius is with a collision preset of overlap all dynamic. And now we can go ahead and close this guy. So now we want to go into the third person character, and what we want to do is basically on started, we want to make a for each loop. Yes, this time a for each loop with an array, okay, not like last video. And what we want to do is basically get all overlapping actors. Get overlapping actors, okay, there we go. And now we will not specify a class, so we will, obtain any actor that we are now colliding, so later on it can be more dynamic. And now the thing is that because our player, if we open the dummy again, is inside this radius, you'll be overlapping with this dummy. So the thing here is that, okay, if we are overlapping with an actor, what we can do is ask if that's the dummy. So what we're going to do is go ahead and to communicate better with our actors, we're gonna create an interface, okay? Now, probably it will be a temporary interface, because later on we'll create a proper interface where we can do more things with the enemy, such as, doing more stuff, okay? That's the thing. But for now, we're gonna create an assassination blueprint. So let's go into the blueprints folder, create a not blueprint class. We're gonna go into the blueprint section and then blueprint interface. So it's gonna be BPI of blueprint interface underscore assassination, and now we can open it. Okay, let's put it over here, and you will see that it will automatically create a new function. Let's double click or change the name here. Well, we can, okay, just click it once, and now this will be basically stealth back assassin. Okay, so basically a stealth back assassin. And the thing is that this will contain an output. So the enemy, when it receives this function, it will give us the reference location. Okay, and this will be basically a vector, and then another one which will be the rotation, the assassin rotation, and this will be a rotator. Okay, so you will see in a second why we're doing this, but basically an interface will allow us to communicate with whatever actor without needing to directly cast into its class. So now whatever blueprint that we create that will contain this interface, we can basically just call this function, and if they have it implemented, they will basically give us all this information. So you will see it in action in a second, okay? But basically it will give us the reference location and the assassin's rotation. So you will see what I mean with reference and the rotation very soon. So we can close this, and now we need to go into our dummy and go into class settings. And now in implemented interfaces, we want to add the BPI underscore assassination, the one that we have just created, okay? And there we go, it will be implemented and you can see it here. So right now we will not touch it, just compile and save. And now let's go back, and we can also close the collection and go back into our character blueprint. So what we want to do is get the array element, so the actor that we are overlapping right now, and basically just say does implement interface. So now we can just say, okay, so if it has the interface of assassination, it's a branch, okay, what we want to do is get it and just say, okay, so we do the stealth back assassin that we have just created. So you can see that we are not casting into the dummy. We are not doing the cast to BP dummy. So, and then the things that if we later on have another type of enemy, so for example BP dummy 2 or whatever, we don't have to do another branch and separate it. We can just use this one and it will work. So you will see what how it is in action in a second. So we can double click to make the root a bit better, and now we will get the location and rotation from the dummy. Okay, so then we can move the motion warping into this location and rotation. So you will see it in action in a second. So let's go ahead and get the mesh, all right, and then say play montage. Okay, montage, there we go, then plug it in over here. So we'll play an animation montage, and this one will be of course the paired knife stealth. So we'll go ahead and attack. Now what we want to do is go and get the motion warping component from the last episode, and then say add or update warp target, like we did basically yesterday. But now we want to right click on here, split it, and then this time we want to pass the location from the reference, and then the here, and then the assassin rotation into the rotation. And we can again double click, put it like this so it's a bit better. There we go. I always like to keep the code as clean as we can, because later on, if not, it will be a spaghetti when it grows. Okay, I can put this one a bit to the left. There we go. And we don't have to touch any of the other values, so we just want to plug in that. And now we need to fill the name. So again, I recommend to go exactly into the animation. So it will be this one, and select the motion warping component. And now in the warp name, select it, copy it, and then go back into the node and paste it. So again, it has to be exactly the same with the same caps, I think. And if you have even a space at the end, it will fail. So it has to be exactly the same. So that's why I recommend to copy and paste it. Great, so that's pretty much all that we need. So we can also select everything, press C to comment, and it's gonna be stealth assassination. And again, I think that we can do is go and select the comment that we created earlier, copy the color, go here, select it, and paste it. All right, so everything is neat and beautiful. Great. So right now, if I press play and there's nothing here, I left click and nothing will happen. Okay, the code is running, but there's nothing overlapping with us, so of course nothing will happen. But now what we have to do is go here into blueprints and place our dummy. So let's go ahead and place it over here, for example. And I can go motion warp over this last episode, really cool. Now if I go here and left click, you will see that it will start attacking. The thing is that everything is broken. Wow, well, because we are not passing the location and the rotation. Like in here, in the dummy, we have not implemented the interface. So that's why we have to basically go ahead and do all the functionality of when we receive the interface. And now in the dummy, we have to give these values, because right now we are just passing 000 and 000, and that's not what we want. So let's go into the dummy, and now because we have this interface, we can just double click and it will create a new function for us. Okay, so there we go. It will go ahead and return this to nodes. So what do we want to do in this nodes? Well, first of all, we want to play an anim montage. So we want to basically play the animation of the victim. So let's go into content, characters, RPG, animations, assassinations, and now this is basically the victim. So what we have to do is right click and create also an anim montage for it. Put the name as it is, and then we can double click and open it and you will see it in action. Now the thing is that we don't have to go ahead and put any animation warping, because the victim will not have to move, only the attackant will be us. So we don't have to do nothing more. Just select it, go to dummy, and then we can press this arrow and it will be automatically assigned. So when we go ahead and receive this interface, it will play this animation. Great. So now what we have to do is return this to nodes. But the thing is that, do we just get the location? No, what we're going to do is do it in a better way. So let's go into the viewport of the dummy, and let's go ahead and select the mesh and duplicate it. So now this will be the assassin reference. Okay, so now what we have to do is move it a bit back, and in animation mode we can go and select an asset, and now we can go ahead and search our stealth attackant. It doesn't matter if it's the montage of the animation, doesn't matter. But now we can preview this over here. So we can disable playing and just put animation position of, for example, 1, so we can see it in action. So now what we can do is go into the mesh, the render mesh, and now put it into the asset, and this time be the basically the victim, and then put it into 1 as well. So this will be exact the position that we want. So now the thing is that we can basically tune the reference to be in place. So this will be our player. Imagine this is a player and we want to motion warp in that exact position. So that's what we want to do. So we can just play with the values over here. Now, this is just playing, okay? I will put it in a quick position over here. So let's say that this is the position over here. Now you will see it's not perfectly matching, but you will see that when we motion warp, it will be a bit better. But honestly, this is just experimenting. Now I will leave it in this position over here, which is -40, 0, and this -89, and then 90 degrees, and there we go. Okay, so I will leave it like that. Now select the reference and go into details, and then make sure that hidden in game is enabled. So we don't want to see this reference in game. This is just for us to edit the game. Now let's go down and make sure that in Assassin's Ref, no collision is enabled as the preset. So there's no collision with this guy. Great, so again we can compile and save. So now we can go back into the interface, and now we can get the assassin reference, and we can get the wild location, okay, and plug it as the location. And now the rotation might surprise you, because we are not gonna get the reference one, we are just gonna get the actor rotation. And this, just of my testing, I found it better that if we directly just use the one that is using this one instead of this one, it will work. Now you'll see that it's very similar, it's pretty much exactly the same, but I don't know, it works better. Okay, so let's compile and save. So now the player will be actually receiving some value. So now we can go ahead and press play, go into our enemy, and now when I oh sorry, we have to do one more thing, which is go back into the dummy, and we have to put him back to use the animation blueprint. Now make sure that this mani over here, if we open it here, this is the normal template one, this is not our custom one, has the default slot, which does. So we need to be having this to be allowed to play the animation montage. So compile and save, press play, go into our enemy over here, and now we can left click and pop, pop, pop. There we go. Looking cool, huh, guys? Look at this. We'll basically motion warp. Now, if we are, for example, looking a bit in this way, so we're not exactly facing, doesn't matter. The motion warping will go and play in that position. Now, we will need to play with the reference location over here. Okay, so this is just playing. Now you see that maybe it's not matching or whatever. Well, maybe you can move it to the left. This is all how you want. There we go, a bit better maybe. So like I said, this is just going ahead and just experimenting, okay? But we have a really cool system, okay? It's working. So we can also crouch and be like, okay, we're gonna sneak, pa, 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 and then we can kill him and then go and continue with the simple enemy. Now let's do a few more things. So first of all, what we're going to do is that we will ragdoll the enemy, okay? So when we go ahead in here and assassinate him, he plays the animation, but then he respawns. No. We want to basically applicate physics on this guy. So let's exit the game and let's go into dummy. So we're gonna go into the event graph this time. Let's go and create a custom event, and it's gonna be ragdoll. So now what we want to do is basically make a delay. So why are we gonna make a delay? Well, I will show you in a second, but this delay will be of 2.5 seconds. And now we want to get our mesh, not the reference one, okay? We want to get basically the mesh of the enemy itself, and then set simulate physics, okay? And this will be to true, so tick it. Now let's go into the mesh and go into the collision presets, and we have to set this into a physics actor. If not, it will not work. And now let's go ahead and open this. Let's put it into custom once that we have selected the physics actor. And now we can go and set the camera to ignore. This is just because the camera will basically overlap with the character and it will do weird things. So we don't want that, we want to ignore it. And now let's go into the capsule component, and in collision presets it's gonna be ignore only pawn. So it will not be interfering with our physics. Great, compile and save. So why did we make this delay? The thing is that we need to play this ragdoll over here, right in the interface. But if we play it in the exact place, it will not play the animation, because I mean, we play the animation, but in the same frame, we are applying physics, so it will fall. It will not look good. So what we have to do is basically wait a few seconds around the 2.5 that I said, and then right like on here, it will activate physics, so it will fall with physics. You know, so we need to basically wait a few seconds to let our animation finish. The thing is that I cannot apply a delay over here, as I explained in the last video, because this is a function, and functions will not let any delays or other nodes that basically have a different type of outputs with some waiting times and stuff. Okay, it's just how it works. So we have to create a custom event and then call it, but hey, it works. So also let's comment this and put here ragdoll, so everything is nice and organized, and let's put it over here. So now I'm gonna compile and save. We can go here. All right, let's jump over here, and now if I attack him, boom, and then boom, he has physics. You can see the physics working in action. So cool. Great, so we're gonna make one last thing real quick, and it's sorry, and it's basically make the assassin widget appear on top of here. Now probably our widget system will be temporarily. It will really just to get the feeling of it, because later on when we actually get into actual, you know, inventory and combat and stuff, we will start making the real UI. But let's go ahead and create a new folder. This will be UI, and now right click, go into user interface and create a widget blueprint, and this will be a user widget, WB and then underscore, and this will be assassinate prompt. Let's go ahead and open this up. Let's put it over here, and we want to put a canvas panel and drag it into the hierarchy, and we want to close this. And now what we want to do is basically get a text and drag it into the middle of the screen. So now we want to get the anchors and put it into the middle, and then the position X and Y, put it at 0, 0. And then in the alignment, in the X, put it at 0.5. So now it will be perfectly in the center. Sorry about that, I moved the anchors. There we go. So the text will be basically something as, you know, what was it? Left mouse, and then assassinate. Something like that. Let's go ahead and put this big over here, and now the position X, put it back into 0, and there we go. So left mouse, assassinate. We'll of course later on put a better icon and stuff. Like I said, this is just temporarily. Let me go ahead and mute the phone. All right, so now what we can do is compile and save, close this, and I'll go into the dummy, and what we can do is just add a widget component, a normal widget, not interaction, a normal one. Now this will basically be the basically as assassinate widget, and on here we can set the class to be the one that we have just created, and now you will see it in action over here. So let's put it right on top of the player's head, or the enemy's head, and then with the rescale tool we can make it a bit smaller. Okay, basically like this. Looks pretty cool. You can see the value here, 0.25. Great, so now what we have to do is basically enable and disable this whenever we want to be able to assassinate. So what we can do is go into the assassinate radius and go into the on component begin overlap. So basically when an actor enters in this radius, we want to cast to the third person character to make sure that it is the character. So if the cast is 2, basically the guy entering in this radius will be the player. So in that case we want to go ahead and get our widget and say set visibility to true, because we want to be able to see it. Now we're gonna do the opposite and go again to the radius, go down into the end overlap, and again we want to copy this, paste it, and if the guy exiting, like the other actor, is the player, we want to disable it. So go ahead and untick that over there. Great. So another thing that we want to do is go into the stealth back And right when we do all this, we want to get the widget and also disable it. So if we are already going ahead and assassinating this guy, we don't want to show the widget anymore, so we can just disable it here. Great. And now if I press play and go over here, you will see that when I enter, it's there. Okay, it's there, but it is not following and facing the camera. So what we have to do is go into the event graph and go into the event tag. So let me place it up over here. So what we want to do is get the widget and then set the rotation, and this will be the world rotation. Just plug it with the event tag, and now what we want to do is in the new rotation is find look at rotation. So the starting point will be the actual widget position. So get location, get world location, plug it here. Now rotation, okay, it's gonna be the location. And now we want to get the player camera. So get player camera manager, and then we want to basically get the world location, and it will create basically a transform component because we need to access this transform, and now we can just plug it into the target. So now compound save, press play. You can see now here basically it's already on, and when I exit it disables, and when I come back it enables, and I assassinate it goes. Now I missed something, and that's that we have to disable it by default, because if not, when we start the game it will be enabled. So go into the widget, go into visibility, and then disable it. And now when we start the game, there we go, it is not enabled. We can go, maybe sneaking in, go here, and now left mouse assassinate, left click, go ahead and motion warp into it, go ahead and take him down. He's now with physics and stuff, and he goes. Now right now we can go back and assassinate him again even though he's not dead, but this is the dummy. So when we implement the health system and stuff, we will make sure that if he's not dead, we cannot assassinate him again or apply the prompt, etc. This is basically as we go. So that's it, guys. If you found the tutorial helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could like the video and subscribe to my channel. I hope that you're enjoying this RPG series. I have lots of Unreal Engine 5 tutorials, so if you want to go ahead and check them out, go ahead. Also join my Discord server so you can share the progress that you're making with the RPG series or your game, and then also ask any questions, etc. Follow me on all socials such as Twitter and Instagram, and it will really help me out, all these things. So now, yes, with all that said, see you in the next episode. Bye bye.